So we thought of getting you a discussion with someone who has actually seen both the listed space and is active PMS and money manager in that space, but is also a very close follower of what's happening in the private market, in the startup ecosystem, where a big bull run seemed to be playing out. In fact, almost more than half a dozen unicorns in the last 6 weeks alone, dollops of liquidity coming in, and marqueest of investors are pouring in over there. There's a long list. So we'll be discussing what's happening there as well as on the Indian market. With Rajesh Sehgal is joining us now from Equanimity. Rajesh, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. While there seemed to be some amount of caution which is seeping in with the second COVID wave, and understandably so, the details are very gory. Numbers are bad, and caution and proper administration of vaccination, etc., seem to be the only panacea as far as current situation is concerned. Market is cautious, but on the other side of the market, the unlisted space, the tech-backed consumer tech companies, all of that, big money is pouring in, as we were discussing the other day. Everybody is questioning the valuations and the quality of operations, and many of them are right now clocking big losses. You're someone who has an eye on both the ends of the market. Talk to us about how the big money, the global blue-blooded investors are assigning valuations and picking additional stakes in this side. New unicorns are being born. Your take.
Yeah, thanks, Ajay. Thanks for having me, first of all. Pleasure to be here and share my thoughts on this big conundrum that is facing all of us in investing. The last few weeks, I've seen the emergence of wave of unicorns. So just to put this in perspective, I think in India now we have nearly 50 unicorns, and I don't know, but there was another report by a leading brokerage house which said India has 100 unicorns, and it's just that the perspective of defining unicorns were very different. So whether you look at the 100 unicorns or you look at the 50 unicorns, that have come up from the startup space, needless to say, it is the time of high valuations or businesses that are getting valued at numbers that are eye-popping, and therefore this question of what's happening, what's going on there. Please remember when we look at these unicorns that these are all the numbers that we see which have a lot of survivorship bias. So for every one unicorn, I can tell you from my experience, there are 10,000 of them, who lost way and died along the way somewhere. So as much as we need to be very happy with these unicorn numbers and try to understand the valuations, we have to be cognizant that it is a very risky affair. Trying to answer the value
harassment.
Mr. Kejriwal, the CM of Delhi, was also speaking about that some restrictions will be put in order to ensure that people stay indoors and the chain breaks. The point I'm bringing out is that some of these companies, be it the online pharmacy companies, the food delivery companies, financial fintech companies, in the last 1 year we've been speaking to many of them, and some of them got additional funding in the last few weeks. Their business model itself got a big boom because people stayed indoors, and it appears that next few quarters at least, social distancing and the full-blown economy will not be back. So that is also seemed to be working in their favor of valuations, is it not?
Oh, definitely, yes. That's a two-edged sword. For some companies, for others, it doesn't work because, like the normal, mom and pop stores are closed. So are so many businesses that can be online but derive their essential revenue source from the offline world. So there's a mix. No one is truly just simply online. So it works both ways. There are companies that have suffered immense stress and had to be shut down. year. But we all, as I said, we all focus on the survivorship bias. So, what jo dikhta hai, wo bikhta hai. Are these unicorns and companies that are raising hundreds of millions of dollars so easily.
Sure. Rajesh, you were referring to that Credit Suisse recent note which talks about 100 unlisted companies. In fact, it's not just that. A lot of brokerages historically who have covered listed companies have started doing roadshows for unlisted companies and startups, and one is getting a sense that the family office community, the big HNI community is also wanting to have a piece of this pie and is eager to research on it. Some of these companies like Policybazaar, Zomato and few others are getting IPO ready in the next few months. Do you think that the traditional investors are ready to be making these kind of investing decisions? Are they going deep into it, or do you think they should be very careful? What is your view on that?
I think both, Ajay. I think honestly, they have to be extremely careful, because for most of these traditional investors, including HNIs, family offices that you mentioned, this is a new asset class. And this asset class comes with its own risk profile. And I think it's important to understand those risks when you start allocating money to this asset class. But that said, I think it is inevitable. Most family offices and HNIs, and we are in touch with so many of them, are very keen to participate. Many of them have already started dipping their toe, putting their foot in the door. They're trying to experiment and understand what this new animal is about. I think it's inevitable. There's no option all these investors in the country will have, but they will have to participate in this asset class. Look at it like this. I still remember maybe 12, 14 years ago, the first time I had to input my credit card details on a mobile phone or on the web or on a website. I mean, I had anxiety attack, and I'm sure all of us have gone through it 10, 15 years back. And the generation ahead of us, people who are in their 60s today, were so technology averse, but now you see it everywhere. I mean, the last year has just accelerated this trend of everybody adopting technology. WhatsApp calls, video calls, Zoom calls, it's everybody's on it. Whether earlier it used to be, my kids are in the US, the only way I can be in touch is over a video call. But now we're all working on the video calls, right? We are ordering stuff, and not just us, but people who are 50 plus, 60 plus, we are all online. So as people adopt technology, as people get more comfortable online, I think the avenues to investing also open up a lot. And some of this valuation rush is, I think, a flow of that. It's just, much more liquidity coming into this ecosystem where we didn't have these levels of numbers ever. So it's as I said, it's inevitable. We will all have to participate in this ecosystem.
Right. All right, Rajesh, we'll let you go on that one. Thanks so much for your input on this very interesting debate which is going on right now in the market. And most market men are discussing valuations, whether to look at or not. There is a bit of FOMO also at play. If you completely ignore it, you miss it out. So we'll cover all of that going forward in the next few months. Thanks so much for your input today, Rajesh. Let's take a short break on that note. More news and analysis on the other side. Don't go anywhere.